bites and highlights together everywhere. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. From fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will frame. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. Football and fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will frame. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride.
Welcome to Sports Bites. Welcome to Sports Bites with your host, Chris Joseph. Are you a sports fanatic who loves the thrill of the game and the delicious food that accompanies it?
And then they had chicken fingers, exotic chicken fingers.
Join us as we dive into the world of sports and the delectable bites that make the experience even better. Whether you're in the stadium, tailgating, or watching from the comfort of your home. Get ready to satisfy your sports cravings with Chris Joseph on Sports Bites. Let's dig in.
Oh, I am back. What is up, everybody? My name is Chris Joseph. I'm your host of the Sports Bites podcast. I hope you guys are doing great this Monday. The season's almost over in college football. Craziness going on in the NFL. And I'm just happy to be back. For those that don't know, a couple weeks ago, it was the night of the Oklahoma-Missouri game. I was trying to do some cooking at the house and made a costly error and dropped a full Dutch oven of hot frying oil on my leg. Resulted in second-degree burns over about 50% of my right leg. Luckily, it's the lower portion, and thank God it didn't splash up any higher, guys, if you know what I'm saying. All right? And I think I did that show that Monday after the Missouri game, and at first it really wasn't that bad. And I don't know if it's just the initial reaction, anything like that, but by Tuesday, and of course, everybody, if you know me, you know I'm a type 1 diabetic. So my wife, being a fantastic nurse, my sister's a nurse, they're like, hey, you need to go to urgent care just to get checked out because, wound healing. We'll make sure you're healing good, don't get infected. Cool, I got you. I go to the emergency room or to the urgent care. Urgent care goes, bruh, there's nothing we can do for you. All we have is Neosporin. You need to go to the emergency room. So I got in the car and drove to the emergency room, and it had started blistering. They lanced the blisters. That's when the pain really started. I'm just now able to kind of walk around a little bit. It is looking better. It was very gross. I had a friend of mine that was like, "You have a picture? I want to see it." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll show you a picture." I sent the picture to him and he said, "I immediately regret my decision." My leg looked like Freddy Krueger's face, okay? But for everybody that reached out to ask me how I was doing, for everybody that sent messages, I just want to say thank you. It means a lot to me that you guys took time out of your day to see how I was doing, that you guys took time out of your busy schedule, because I know everybody's busy. And you took time out of your schedule to see how I was doing. So I want to say thank you. It means the world to me, because this is a passion of mine, to be able to talk about sports, be able to talk about food. And don't forget, tonight, I'm going to go over my top 10 Thanksgiving dishes. I know I probably differ from some, but again, for those that are watching, hit that like button no matter what platform you're on. If you look down here on the bottom, you see all the socials, right? Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not charging people for subscriptions, but it is going to help me out to get like a bigger fan base, because I am trying to, I'll be completely transparent. I'm trying to monetize it, trying to make money again doing this. But I appreciate everybody that supported. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. A lot of stuff we're going to get into. A lot of stuff. And I hope you're ready, because this college football season, we knew going into it that with the 12-team playoff, that this was going to be a unique football season. What's transpiring down to the end of the season is absolutely mind-boggling. To think about last weekend, how many top 25 teams lost. To think about what teams lost their chance to be in the playoffs. What teams still have a chance to be in the playoffs. The ebb and flow of emotion. I mean, we come down to the final week of the season. It's rivalry weekend. You've got the Iron Bowl. You've got the game, Michigan, Ohio State. Then you go to conference championship weekend. And it's just getting started, right? It's just getting started. Now, I'm going to say this. I will take time, and I'm going to talk about the Oklahoma-Alabama game, probably a little bit later, because I want to go over the full slate of what happened on Saturday. As an Oklahoma fan, living in the state of Alabama, I just want to say thank you to the Sooners, because there ain't shit they can say to me for the rest of the year, okay? They may say, hey, your team sucked this year. Okay, we beat both of you. We beat Auburn. We beat Alabama. You can't take that away from them. But we're going to talk about that a lot more. But let's take a look at what happened last week. I mean, last weekend, the biggest game as far as what everyone was talking about was obviously Indiana and Ohio State. Kurt Cignetti talking about, I win, Google me. Everyone in Indiana's not a good football team. They haven't played anybody. I told people what was really interesting about Indiana throughout the year is the fact that they were so fundamental in the early part of the year in all three facets of the game. That's right, Brandon Boomer. Terry, roll Boomer. Yeah. Absolutely roll Boomer, especially here in the state of Alabama. But Indiana and Ohio State, and the way the game started out, I was like, okay. They hold Ohio State. Next thing you know, Indiana goes down. They score at 7-0. I was like, okay, these guys are here to play. This is going to be good. And then it all fell apart. And I felt bad watching it, because it was one of those, if you watch the movie The Replacements, that was a quicksand game. No matter what Ohio or Indiana tried to do, they just kept sinking and sinking and sinking. Cody, look, I'm going to tell you, Cody, I love you. Oklahoma LSU this weekend. I don't know what to expect, but I'm sure we'll talk about it throughout the week. But yeah, Indiana really harmed themselves. Special teams, and I saw some bad special teams play throughout the whole weekend, including watching my Washington Commanders, right? Harry James Taylor, what's up? One of the field stormers out there at Oklahoma. I hope you're doing good, Harry James Taylor. I hope you enjoyed every second of that game in Norman on Saturday night. I had friends that were there saying it was the loudest that had ever been there. I hope you stormed the field. I hope you got great pictures. I hope you enjoyed yourself, Harry. Harry's one of the best Sooner fans of all time. He's been on the Paul Feinbaum show. He used to come on our show when I was out there. Dominic, what's up, buddy? Man, he's got Dominic. I got to get Dominic on next week because he's getting credentialed and approved to go to the ACC championship game for the college football dogs. So again, there's so much going on, and like I said, I'm very happy to be back talking sports, talking food with everybody. But yeah, that Indiana Ohio State game, it got out of hand, because Indiana really was very uncharacteristic of what they did all season, right? Now, Will Howard passed for 2 touchdowns, rushed for another. Trayvon Henderson looked good at running back. Now all Ohio State has to do is beat Michigan. That's all. They've got to beat Michigan. And it'll be a rematch of Ohio State and Oregon. Huge game-changing win for OU. Harry, you're right. I'm going to dive really into it here in a little bit. I'm going to go over, the slate of games, and I've got some clips to play, different audio segments from the Alabama broadcast, from the Oklahoma broadcast. Tyler Watts, who, is from close to here. He's a Pelham kid, same town as Dabo Sweeney. He was complaining and blaming the lighting at Owen Field that was causing the problems for the University of Alabama. But again, I digress. I'm going to get into the Oklahoma game and talk about that because it's all going to be part of the playoffs and everything. But I mentioned Ohio State. Indiana scores late, makes it 38-15. It was never really in question after the first. Emeka Ibuka, I really like him. I think he's a really, really good receiver. Now, what's funny is they trolled Cignetti, right? After the game, they put up the sign that said, Google it, because of what he said. Let's see. Won't fire BV. You're right. They're not going to fire BV. And again, I hated being one of those people that's like, maybe it's time to go away. But again, I'm going to get into the Oklahoma game in a little bit. All right. I've got a full dissection of this. University of Texas still continues to play. Quinn Ewers, he's just off. He's just off a little to me. They fumbled the ball a little bit. Just crazy stuff. And not really sure about, had some issues with my computer, I apologize. Not really sure about them moving forward. Now, they have a really good defense. They bring pressure, unlike a lot of teams out there. They're dangerous, right? Texas is dangerous. They beat Kentucky 31-14. The team that I think is a huge fraud, Penn State, I'm so mad because Penn State's going to get in the damn playoffs. And I don't think they're a good football team. I don't. Now, again, you won your games. All you can do is win the games you're put in front of you, right? Minnesota had every chance in the world to beat them. Drew Aller, 21-28, 1 touchdown. Tyler Warren's the only guy, and I don't understand, if you're going up against Penn State, why do you not set up somebody, some way to take him out? I mean, there was a lot of that this weekend. Some of these games, like the Oklahoma-Alabama game. Kane Womack, why the hell did you not stack the box and make Jackson Arnold beat you with his arm? I don't understand that. And that's coming from an Oklahoma fan. If I'm going against Oklahoma, I'm stacking the box and I'm making Jackson Arnold beat you under pressure, throwing the ball. So I don't know. But again, why is nobody... And look, take nothing away from Tyler Warren. He's probably going to win the Mackey Award. He's a fantastic tight end. Kudos to you, brother. But 8 catches, 102 yards. That's all Aller's going to, right? That's all Aller has. Penn State is not explosive. And I think that's going to cost them. They're going to look like some of those, blowout teams in the playoffs. Michigan State, guys, they got blown out. It's going to happen. Mark my word. Penn State's going to get in, and they're going to get blown out. They beat Minnesota 26-25. What's left for them? Maryland. That's their last big competition is Maryland. Ooh. Georgia gave up 21 points to UMass. Georgia now sitting in the catbird seat with everything that happened in the SEC this week. Georgia's in. Georgia's in the SEC championship game. They were on the outside looking in. And why? Because Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. Billy got that vote of confidence. DJ Lagway back. Next thing you know, they've gone on a tear. They're 6-5, 4-4 in the SEC. Jackson Dart absolutely looked terrible at the end of the game. I've never seen somebody throw an interception on 3 straight passes. It was crazy. It was crazy. But now, if you're Lane Kiffin, if you're Ole Miss, you're kicking yourself because you had this opportunity right there. It was right there, and you blew it. You blew it. Now Florida won the football game. Take nothing away from them. Florida could be dangerous next year. If they build in a little momentum, carry that on to next year, get some good recruits, start the year with Lagway, who looks like he should be the quarterback to start the season. A lot of people are now saying that maybe he should have been the one to start the season this year. Maybe they wouldn't be in the same position they're in. But Florida's going to be a team that you really got to look out for next year, I think. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason, transfer portal, signees. I mean, we're 9 days away from early signing period. So it'll be interesting to kind of cover that, watch that. Miami messed around a little bit, but Cam Ward becomes the all-time leading passer or single-season passer at the University of Miami. That's, Kozar, Testaverde, all those guys, all those Ken Dorsey, all those great quarterbacks at Miami. Cam Ward is your all-time leading passer. They win 42-14 over Wake Forest. Tennessee, no contest. And Tennessee, I've seen a lot of Tennessee fans, like my man TJ. TJ said, hey, a lot of Tennessee fans are sending Oklahoma fans thank yous. Because of Oklahoma beating Alabama, Tennessee's got a spot. They're in. If they don't lose to Vanderbilt, they're in. They'd be 10-2. And I think you look at their losses, the Arkansas loss, I don't get. Georgia, that's always big. But now they're set up. All they got to do is beat Vanderbilt. Now, again, it's not as easy as it has been in years past, okay? This is not going to be a pushover. It's going to be, it's going to be an intense game. I'm intrigued to see how Clark Lee and the Commodores prepare as they get ready for this game. Nothing would make them happier than to spoil the Tennessee Volunteer Party, right? They want to do that. Boise State struggle a little bit with Wyoming. In Wyoming, kind of cold out there. Ashton Genty, 19 carries, 169 yards. I think they said he's like 400-something yards away from breaking Barry Sanders' record. I mean, this guy, he's unreal. Watching him, I think that's my number one pick for the Heisman. And I respect what Travis Hunter is doing. I'm one that I don't mind a little talking, a little braggadocious, right? But don't hit the Heisman pose when you're losing by 3 scores to a sub-500 team. Can't do that. It's not a good look. You look very selfish when you do that, right? Speaking of that, Kansas, how about the Jayhawks? Rock chalk, huh? Struggling at the beginning of the year. Now become the first team in college football history to be under 500 and beat 3 ranked teams in a row. That's crazy. That's crazy. And they got Baylor. They got Baylor to try to be bowl eligible. Now Baylor, now they got this APR. Kansas has 5 wins. They may get one of those low bowl games if we don't have enough people that are bowl eligible. But Kansas would be sitting there at 5-7 if they lose, 6-6, so they would get in. But it's going to be a big, tough game. But yeah, I mean, Shedeur Sanders, we got to talk about Shedeur. Got to talk about Shedeur. I'm surprised I haven't heard anything today coming down about him pushing the official. Now, I get it. It's an emotional game. But as a former official myself, and believe me, I'm a dog officials here in a little bit, you don't touch an official. You don't. And I'm surprised that I haven't heard anything yet from that. But I love what Dion said after. Y'all were drunk with success. Y'all believed the hype. They weren't focused. Kansas went in there and took it to them. Took it to them. Now you look, BYU, that was a cluster of a game. Chaos ensues. But Arizona State wins. Now Arizona State at 9-2. 9-2 Arizona State. Scatabo. I love watching that guy run. He looked like a Madden creative player that you'd create, just like bowling through. I mean, I love watching Scatabo play. Scatabo, 28 carries, 147 yards, 3 tutties. 3 tutties in that game. Arizona State really in the driver's seat, man. Really in the driver's seat. And it's like, good for you. The teams in South Carolina, Clemson hammered the Citadel 51-14. South Carolina took down the Wofford Terriers. Sets up a ranked match. And I think if I read correctly, in ranked games between South Carolina and Clemson, I believe I saw that South Carolina is 5-1 in those matchups against Clemson. This will be huge for Dabo Swinney. I mean, it's a big game for all of them. I mean, if South Carolina wins, if people will say you don't put 3 teams, 3 lost teams in there, you have to consider some of it, right? It's going to make it very interesting dialogue if South Carolina wins that game against Clemson. It's going to have to be talked about. Now, some guys that are out, obviously, I think Ole Miss is out. I think Bama's out now, which I can't believe I'm saying that, but they're out. Iowa State, they beat Utah 21-38. Utah's lost 7 games in a row. Ugh. How about Illinois? The Fighting Illini, 8-3 on the year. Luke Altmaier, 249 through the air, 2 touchdowns. 8-3. They take down Rutgers 38-31. Missouri. Can we talk about Eli Drinkwitz for a little bit? And I need a drink of bourbon before I talk about this jackass. Eli Drinkwitz is one of those, he reminds me of the, keyboard tough guy. He probably surfs around the internet, the message boards, sees people that say something about him. He wants to talk smack. Like there was a clip. He's yelling across the field, Mississippi State. You can mouth read. You can read his lips, just exactly like Brian Kelly told that kid at LSU, who the fuck do you think you are? You're uncoachable. You could tell what he was saying. Well, Eli Drinkwitz was yelling at Mississippi State saying, stop it or I'm going to score. Man, have some class, Eli. I'm not a fan. You've heard. If you've listened to my show over the last couple of years, you know I'm not a fan of Eli Drinkwitz. I can't stand the guy. I think he's terrible. I think he's a terrible human being. And he's somebody that if I had the chance to, I would definitely sock him right in the face. Like if he provoked me, I would go to jail that night because I would dot his eye. I'm just saying. I hate Eli Drinkwitz that much. SMU. Whoo. SMU undefeated in the ACC. Only lost to BYU early in the year. SMU in the catbird seat for the ACC spot in the playoffs. Right? Now, who would have thought this year? Think about this. Because of some of the losses this week, Indiana's still in play. So if Indiana wins out, I think Indiana's probably in. You're probably going to get Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana. You're going to get 4 teams from the Big Ten. You may only get 3 from the SEC. It's going to be so crazy to watch. But if Indiana makes it, it would be crazy to think Bama out, Ole Miss out, Indiana, Arizona State, Boise State, SMU in the playoffs. In this first year of the 12-team playoff, a third of your playoffs would be those teams. That's crazy. But again, that's why I love this expanded playoff. I mean, because now they're talking about Boise State could end up getting a first-round bye because I think they finally clarified. I don't think anybody really understood. It's not the Power 5 conference, the Power 4 conferences get that first-round bye. Highest ranking conference champion. And as it sits right now, Arizona State, Colorado, all ranked behind Boise State. So if Boise State wins out, Boise State's going to get a bye. And Boise State gave Oregon everything they wanted early in the year. Gave them everything they wanted. So now you get to see. You get to see if you're, and I hope that it's not like Indiana, Ohio State. I hope they get a chance to show what they can do. I really do. The Plains, Jordan-Hare Stadium. Now, I'm watching Oklahoma, Alabama Saturday night with my wife. Now, I'm going to tell you what I made Saturday night. And my man Cody up there, I sent him a picture. I made some New Orleans-style barbecue shrimp with Gouda grits and a jalapeno jack cornbread. Now, I cook a lot for my wife. And I fancy myself a pretty decent cook, except when I drop hot oil on my leg and get a crispy chicken leg myself. My wife said that's the best thing you have ever made since we've been together. Going on almost 10 years, she was like, it was phenomenal. Had some of the butter, rendered down. I poured over top of that with the chives, the cornbread, chef's kiss. But I'm watching the Oklahoma-Alabama game, and I see it flash across. Auburn up 21-0 on A&M. I was like, ooh. And everybody knows when I'm doing co-hosting on the Game Day show for College Football Dogs, Taylor Ahrens is a A&M fan. She was down there. She sent me some pictures of her at Toomer's Corner, places I told her that she needed to go. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out her favor because she's an A&M person. But my sister and my brother-in-law, again, so thankful of everything they did for me this year, getting me and my family down there for the Oklahoma-Auburn game. I was happy for my sister. And to see that kind of game play out like it did, because this year, those have been the games that Auburn have been losing. Right? Peyton Thorne's still not great. 19 of 31, but 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here's what he didn't do. He didn't throw an interception. Another thing that I don't understand is why are they waiting till now to give Jarquez Hunter 28 carries? Why? Jarquez Hunter is one of the best running backs in the SEC, if not the country. Now, Dylan Sampson, probably going to be the best running back in the SEC, right? With his rushing totals. But why is Auburn just now starting to run Jarquez Hunter like that? And I think if you watch the Oklahoma-Alabama game, I'm doing the same thing. I'm coming right at him. Xavier Robinson had a great night as a freshman. We'll talk about him. But Auburn, triple overtime. Now, it's one of those that I want to get your opinion. If you're in the chat, let me know. Do you like the college football tiebreaker or the overtime? Or would you rather it be like NFL? That you get a possession, if you score a touchdown, it's over. What do you like? Now, this one, it's gotten crazy to where you score, whatever happens. If you go to a second overtime, you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2. Then after that, it just goes to 2-point conversion plays. From the 3, you get one shot, one opportunity. And A&M couldn't pull it out. And they stormed the field at Jordan-Hare, fined $200,000. I don't think they care. A season like this, I don't think they care. I thought it was a good victory for Auburn. Again, they've got some really good recruits coming in. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of move forward in the SEC. But, man, Notre Dame has really crushed the hopes of a lot of Americans this year. Because everyone was hoping that Notre Dame would lose to either Navy or Army. And you see right there against it. And I don't know if Notre Dame's a good team or not. I don't know. They're winning games. They put up 14 points in 3 straight quarters. Riley Leonard didn't have to do a whole lot. 13 passes, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now the quarterback for Army, Bailey, 39 carries, 139 yards, 2 tutties. And I wish it had been more competitive. I wish it would have been more competitive. But just like in the Navy game, a turnover cost them. Turnover cost Army. And it was it was not good, right? Not good. I hate it for Army, and I hate it for Navy. And I know there's a lot of people who were hoping and praying that Army and Navy would have had a chance to beat Notre Dame, to knock Notre Dame out of it. I know they were. I know it. But they couldn't really do it. I don't know why I'm getting this message on my computer. It is really starting to annoy me. Some type of spam. This AT&T award. I'm like, shut up. I don't care. I don't care. All right. Now it's time. Right? I got to talk about it. Riley Leonard finally letting his playmakers make plays. Yeah, I mean, he's smart. He's gone to Notre Dame and Duke, so he's obviously a smart individual. Notre Dame, man, I don't know yet. I don't know. But now I'm going to talk about this game. And I'm going to talk about what I thought heading into it. You can ask anybody that knows me. Again, I live in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm in the heart of SEC. I'm in the heart of Crimson Tide country. When you move to Alabama, the question you're asked is, who do you pull for? I told everybody I'm an Oklahoma guy. No. Who do you pull for? I'm in Oklahoma. No. They want you to pick a side. Alabama, Auburn. They want you to. That's how serious they take it here in Alabama. When the announcement came, I was super excited. Oklahoma going to the SEC. I get to see them, get to be around I've talked with Toby Rowland, who's the play-by-play guy. Looking forward to seeing him. Chris Plank, who does softball. They're coming to Tuscaloosa. When the baseball team, Skip and them come to the Hoover Met, I can't wait for that. But I went into this game not with the highest of expectations because of how poorly the University of Oklahoma had played offensively. Historically bad. Historically bad. You saw glimpses early in the first half of the Ole Miss game, falling apart in the second half. Again, errors. Missouri, you go back and forth with a Drew Pine-led Missouri team. Now, granted, you still have Luther Burden, Theo Weeks Jr., two of the best receivers in all of college football, but it's Drew Pine. And we all know what happened there. Jackson Arnold, another costly turnover. And that's what's crazy about this season for the University of Oklahoma is the number of catastrophic turnovers that they've had. I mentioned in the show that I did a while ago, leading up to Alabama, that every turnover other than the Kip Lewis pick six in Auburn, every turnover that Oklahoma has created in the SEC has been reciprocated by an Oklahoma turnover or a missed field goal within 2 minutes and 3 seconds of clock time. Think about that. Quick change, momentum. Brent Venables comes out and says the Oklahoma defense has faced more snaps than any team in college football. And you can tell. They start, you look good, and then you start to kind of fade away. Tennessee fans are going to say that, they let the foot off the gas. I think they changed the game plan because Nico was getting pressured. You saw it again this weekend. But here comes Alabama. Alabama beat 3 straight teams. They scored over 30 points, really just beat them bad. And you don't really count Mercer, so they beat 2 teams really. Oklahoma hadn't beat an FBS school since that Auburn game the end of September. And some of them haven't even been close. South Carolina came in and took Oklahoma's lunch money in Norman. Again, horrific, catastrophic turnovers lead to this. But I've got friends out here that I talk to in Bama. They're like, what do you think? What do you think? And, man, I didn't have a good feeling. I did not have a good feeling going into this game. And the only reason I say that, again, because of the type of offense. Did I think Oklahoma could compete defensively? Sure. There's some players that I was really surprised with. Eli Bowen, the freshman, I think he did a fantastic job covering Ryan Williams. I know he had the 1 touchdown taken away, which I think is one of the worst calls I have ever seen in my life, and I'll talk about the referees here in a minute. But it's taken away. Ryan Williams had 2 catches for 37 yards. 2. Now, the touchdown he scored, it was taken back. He was out of bounds. But again, the guy makes plays, but still throughout the game, 2 catches, 37 yards. They were dropping passes. They tried really hard to run. Like the first play of the game, it reminded me of Steve Atwater and Christian Okoye back in the day. Milroe goes to take off right side A-gap. Whap! There's Danny Stutzman, who is a finalist for the Butkus Award. Kudos to you, Mr. Stutzman. And that kind of set the tone for the whole game. But then as it goes through, you start to see the mistakes creep up again. Taylor Tatum fumbles the football. He's had a problem securing the ball. Hopefully he's better with Skip Johnson in the baseball field this year on the diamond. And I hope the kid's successful, but he's got to get better with ball security. Then you get the ball back again, and you go down into Alabama territory. You throw a double pass, and Bauer Sharp butterfingers it. And you're like, oh my God, here we go. And look, Bauer Sharp has had a bad year. There's a lot of people who are really down on Bauer Sharp. I think he did a great job in coming back and blocking in this game. But again, Bauer Sharp has struggled. He misses that catch. Not good. Then they come out, miss the field goal. And you're like, well, this is it. This is what Oklahoma has done all year. And you're like, you feel bad. I felt bad for the defense because the defense has played good enough to give them opportunities. I mean, the defense didn't give up those early touchdowns to South Carolina. That was the offense. Now, they scored 1 rushing touchdown. Rocket Sellers had a good touchdown. But that was after a quick turnover. So the defense has played good. And I had said I didn't think that Oklahoma was elite defensively. Then Saturday night happened. That was a Brent Venables defense. Now, I'm extremely happy for Brent Venables. I've told people on this show, I've talked to people, I hated feeling that Brent may not be the guy. Because I respect Brent. I got to know Brent when he was there as a defense coordinator under the Stoops regime. I got to know him, talked to him numerous times. Great man. Great man. When he was named the coach, it was like, all right, here we go. Get Lincoln Riley, get Muleshoe the hell out of here. We got an Oklahoma guy coming in. And it's been a struggle. This is the biggest win in Brent Venables' tenure as the head coach at Oklahoma. It's not the Texas win last year. It's this. And I told people when they were asking me what I thought about the game, I said the only sliver of hope that I have is that it's senior night, and then there's been a lot of emotion around the program over the last week when Brent Venables come out and talked about his wife, Julie, and the fact that her cancer is back. And Julie's a very integral part in the Norman community, in the Oklahoma community. Right? So there's a lot he's dealing with. But all this stuff happens, and for me, I'm like, it's a recipe for disaster for Oklahoma. Alabama's rolling, everything to play for. They have a chance to, still go to the SEC championship, still go to the playoffs. They've been steamrolling people, right? Steamrolling people. And then boom, the game starts. And I'm like, okay. Alabama led 3-0 in the first quarter. I'm like, you know what? Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. Second quarter is when it all kind of turned around. And I love the fact that Oklahoma weathered that storm of mistakes early on and didn't let them go, okay, here we go again. Now, I've talked to family. I've talked to friends who were in Norman saying that was the loudest they have ever heard it there. And I have said numerous times that I don't think Owen Field is that intimidating because it's never been that loud. It's never been intimidating. Oklahoma's won a lot of football games in Norman because they've had a good football team. And it's not trying to knock on the crowd. But the student section, they suck. They're always gone. They're never there. But everybody stayed. Everybody was engaged. Everybody was part of it. Xavier Robinson, the guy who was on scout team. They moved him from scout team. 18 carries, 107 yards, averaged 5.9 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns against Alabama. Talk about a breakout game. Young man from Carl Albert High School, right down the road in Oklahoma City. He looks like and there's a lot of people questioning, well, how come we didn't get him on the field sooner? He had to develop. DeMarco Murray, great running back in college, great running back in the NFL. The running back coach at Oklahoma said it's one of the most impressive developmental stories he has seen in his time coaching with what Xavier Robinson has done. He showed sparks of it in Missouri, and you're like, okay, this guy looks good. Keep giving him the ball. He went away from it. I don't know why. But we do come into this game. Let's see Xavier Robinson. And he did not disappoint. Did not disappoint. 18 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 40-yarder. Did good in pass protection. They didn't really throw the ball that much. 11 passes by Jackson Arnold. Brennan Thompson threw the 1 pass. Of those 11 passes, 5 of them were shovel passes, right? 5 of them were shovel passes. But what Jackson Arnold did is he didn't make the costly mistake that he had been making all year. And he played with a grit and a tenacity. And you heard Kirk Herbstreit say that during the broadcast, that with everything that had gone on, for the Sooners to still be able to play with that kind of tenacity, showing that they care, he's like, it says a lot about the culture, right? You're building culture. Huge recruiting weekend. Oklahoma goes into halftime leading 10-3. Now, I said a couple things to my wife as we're sitting there. First thing I said was, look, I'm going to tell you like this. If the football gods listen, I will trade a Washington victory over Dallas tomorrow on Sunday for a Sooner victory today. She just kind of laughed, foreshadowing for what was to come in the Washington-Dallas game. But then I also said I was intrigued because I wanted to see what this defense can do when they were amply rested. They weren't going back on the field after 3 and outs. Oklahoma controlled the clock, chewed the clock, which was their game plan, which I don't understand why Kane Womack doesn't load the box and make Jackson Arnold beat you with his arm. You just sit there and continually let Jackson Arnold carry the ball. And he ran hard. 25 carries, 131 yards. But you knew it was Jackson Arnold and Xavier Robinson. And kudos to the offensive line, because I have dogged that Oklahoma offensive line all year. You had 2 redshirt freshmen on the left side, Howland and Ozida. Redshirt freshmen going up against Alabama. Did a damn good job. Made holes, Bauer Sharp block. It's good, right? Everything's great. We go into the second half starts. Eli Bowen, freshman. Saw what film study does. Cuts in between 2 Alabama defenders, makes a interception. Oklahoma goes down and scores. So you're like, ooh, it's 17-3. Alabama seems a little rattled. Sure enough, the very next possession.
They go empty on 2nd and 11 from the 45. Back to pass. Milroe looks right, throws right. Picked off! Kip Lewis down the sidelines. 20, 15. He did it again! He did it again! Kip Lewis, pick 6! Kip Lewis, Kip 6! Oh, mama! Sooner magic is happening in Norman!
My man Toby rolling the play-by-play voice for the University of Oklahoma. Gave one of his old mamas. Sooner magic is happening. Kip Lewis, 2 pick sixes against both teams from the state of Alabama. The one in Auburn, game winner there, and this one here was pretty much the death knell. Oklahoma goes up 24-3. Now, 4th quarter starts, and I'm still trying to figure out. So it's early in the 4th quarter on the 4th and 1 play. Milroe finds Ryan Williams in the end zone, guarded tightly by Eli Bowen, but a fantastic, miraculous catch by a young superstar wide receiver. Got to toe in. Like, I remember Jalen threw it, and I saw it. I was like, Oh, damn, he got his foot in. That's a touchdown. I don't know what the call was. I know they said he was covered up. I've talked to officials. I've talked to people that officiate in college right now. I spoke to my father, who is a lifelong official and has officiated in college. Nobody knows. He was talking with Mike Weatherford, who's a former NFL referee, right? Mike Weatherford, a former NFL referee who's from Edmond, Oklahoma, he had no idea. He had no idea what the call was. Now, I hate when stuff like that happens because I don't like people, oh, we got cheated. You know, then all the Alabama fans coming out of the woodwork, oh, you paid them off. No, we didn't. Stop. Nobody's paying off referees. It's no. Now, I think you have to answer for that call. Now, that was also the same crew that did Georgia, Texas. So if I'm the SEC commissioner of officials, that crew does not get a damn bowl game. I'm sorry. You cannot get a bowl game if that's what you're putting out. But it's a sad state of affairs for officiating in college football. And what's funny is the stark difference. Here's Chris Stewart and Tyler Watts, the Alabama broadcast of the same play.
Milroe fires, picked off, intercepted again. Going down the sideline, Milroe's the only one that can catch him. Can't. Kip Lewis finds the end zone touchdown. Jalen tried to trip him rather than tackle him. It did not look good. It's a pick six for the Sooners, and Oklahoma has built a 3-score lead with 8:05 to go in the third quarter, Damian.
Hey, he stared that one down, man. He has to go through his progression and stop panicking, man. I'm right here, right in his vision. I mean, it was no doubt that he was throwing that ball to Oots, and the linebacker was sitting there waiting on him, man. That was a big mistake by Ford. You got to find a way, man. You just got to find a way.
Well, you take your...
Jalen Milroe looked absolutely rattled, looked uncomfortable. R. Mason Thomas, Trace Ford, Jaden Jackson, that defensive line, then with the linebacker Danny Stutzman, they put Jalen Milroe in hell in a cell. Like, that was Jalen Milroe's personal hell. They were selling out to stop Jalen Milroe from running. Jalen had 15 carries for 7 yards. 15 carries for 7 yards. Jam Miller, 12 for 45. Jeremy Bernard, 4 catches, 60 yards. Josh Cuevas, 2 catches, 40. I mentioned Ryan Williams, 2 catches, 37 yards. Unreal. But it's happening. And Oklahoma holds. So the third interception in the fourth quarter, Oklahoma gets the ball. And kudos to Woody Washington. Hasn't had an interception with Oklahoma in the last 2 years. It's senior night for him, too. He gets the interception after Milroe was hit. Ball's up in the air. Woody gets it. There was over 7 minutes left to go in the game. Alabama never got the ball back. I don't know. I can't remember a time when Alabama got bullied like that from start to finish. They looked like a team that wasn't prepared. They looked like a team that wasn't ready to play. They looked like a team that when adversity hit, they fell apart. They didn't come together. And it's very, there's a lot of talk out here, and I'm listening to people talk out here that, Kalen DeBoer got a very loaded roster compared to what Nick Saban did, right? But still not able to get it done. So I don't know where this lands for DeBoer. Again, I'm mad at Kane Womack if I'm an Alabama fan. Now, when Lawson went out, that's a big loss for the Alabama defense, okay? That's a big loss. But as an Oklahoma fan, I don't want to hear shit about injuries, all right? From any team. From any team, I don't want to hear anything about injuries. With the number of guys that have missed already, and this patchwork offensive line, this offense that's been held together by baling wire and bubble gum. But they fought. The offensive line was blowing the Alabama defensive line off the ball, opening holes. A lot of counter, GT counters, which I love, guard tackle counters. Love it. Pin and pull stuff. Love it. Eddie Pierre-Louis, the freshman phenom, who you've seen the videos when he was running the 100-meter dash as an offensive lineman and beating people. Freaking nature. He's going to be so. Fabechi Wiwu, the SEC offensive lineman of the week. This is a guy that I thought was terrible. I thought he was terrible all year. Xavier Robinson, freshman of the week. I mean, it was crazy. And now we get towards the end of the game. And I want to address this because I know there's a lot of people that feel some sort of way about it. I don't like the fact that Oklahoma rushed the field with 28 seconds left because they didn't see that Brent Venables had called a timeout so that Casey Thompson could come and take the final snap, which I thought was a tremendous nod of respect to Casey and his family, considering that his father, Charles Thompson, was an Oklahoma legend at quarterback. His brother played at Oklahoma. And to get a snap on the field, I thought it was a great move. The Oklahoma fans hit the field early. You got to find $200,000, fine, whatever. Then I started to see the people, oh, you're Oklahoma. You don't rush the field. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. Why are you so upset that they rushed the field? You don't rush. This is only the third time since 1985 that Oklahoma has rushed the field. The two previous times to Saturday night were 2000 when they beat Nebraska. That was a statement. Oklahoma's back game in the championship season. I was there. Oranges were flying. It was epic. Heard my man Dusty Dvorak talking. He was there for that game. Part of the field rush. That's what helped him commit. And he came to Oklahoma. Before 2000, it was 1985, Oklahoma, Nebraska. And then it happened this week. And all these people that are saying, you're a blue blood, act like you... Tennessee's a blue blood, right? People think Tennessee's a blue blood? They rushed the field 2 out of the last 3 years when they played Alabama. 2 out of the last 3 years, right? Vandy, I agree, buddy. Why do people get so fans rushing the field? They do it for their own reasons. Whether those ones matter to you or not, let them do their thing. Now, my thing about this is, and I don't want to make this sound like, woe is us, poor Oklahoma. I mean, we've had a great historic run. We know it's been a bad year. It's been a bad year. All the injuries, all the games that the way they happened. The senior night, the Julie Venables news, that fan base needed that. And I think what's great is I'm seeing friends of mine out in Oklahoma post pictures of them with their kids on Owen Field, making those lifetime memories. But then you got people who are like, oh, don't rush the field. Shut the fuck up. These people are making memories. And again, as long as you do it right. I don't want to see people get, when they run at and they talk to players. And I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing that. But if you rush the field, it doesn't matter. I mean, hell, Alabama's getting $200,000 from it anyway. I saw that, Dom. Oklahoma named the Cheez-It Team of the Week. I saw that. Vandy, you're right. Injuries, Bob's mother passing. It did. You're absolutely right. And as well, again, different, but Vanderbilt beating Alabama, that mattered. Those fans, 60 years since Vanderbilt had won over Alabama, and to see the flood of Vanderbilt fans come on the field to help usher that goalpost down to the river. Yes. Yeah, I agree. If Vandy beats Tennessee on Saturday, hell yeah. Go for it. Live it up. Like I said, there's people taking pictures with the players. There's people taking pictures with their kids, their grandkids. and just making these lifelong memories, and you got these internet tough guys hating on them and talking crap about it. If they didn't do anything, right? As long as they didn't interact with a player, any of that stuff, put their hands on a coach, who cares? But it did. That was a huge win for that fan base. It was cathartic. They got emotional. They played jump around. Everybody had a great time. I'm getting emotional myself thinking about it. Because I know a lot of people that were there. And what that win meant. But that's the same. It's just that's the sad state that we live in when people would rather be haters online and stuff like that. Well, I mean, you're a blue blood. The fuck does that mean? Just because Oklahoma has a storied tradition, the fans can't be emotionally bought in and rush the field? Like I said, Tennessee's rushed the field 2 out of the last 3 seasons against Alabama. Auburn's won national championships. They rushed the field. The kick 6 game, Rod Brown is great call. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. If it's done right, I have no problem with it. Okay? I don't. But great victory for the Sooners. Now, I did say that I would give up a Washington Commanders victory over the Cowboys for a Sooner victory. The football gods giveth, and then the football gods taketh away. Washington had been struggling, but again, it comes in special teams. And I know why it happened, and listen to me. So I wanted Oklahoma to win, right? I said I want Oklahoma to beat Bama. I'll take the Washington loss to Dallas. And it happened. Oklahoma beats Bama. Dominates them, bullies them, knocks them out of the playoffs, knocks them out of the SEC championship. Everybody here in Birmingham up at arms over Kalen DeBoer, Womack. Like they hate it. It's crazy. Bench Milrow, play Ty Simpson in the Iron Bowl. Then Sunday comes around. And I'm like, it's the Cowboys. And I told somebody leading up to the week, I was very like, well, all right, this is the most confident I have been as a Washington fan going into playing Dallas. Dallas had won 15 of the last 16 heading into it. And then it was a terrible game. It was a terrible game from both sides. But then it got interesting. Turkwin, that kick return, as soon as he put his foot in and spun, I was like, he's gone. And then Washington again. Terry McLaurin finds a way to get open. Goes down and score. Unbelievable. But who fucked up? Austin Seibert. Where did Austin Seibert play his college football? The University of Oklahoma. So all the good mojo that I conjured up when I asked the football gods, give me a victory over Alabama, and I'll take that loss from Washington to Dallas. It's Austin Seibert, who missed a field goal and 2 extra points, had a terrible onside kick to begin with, and then had a second one that they returned. So it's like all that good juju for Oklahoma turned into bad juju for the Oklahoma player on the Washington Commanders. Oh, it was tough. It was tough. But I'm going to go over my top 16. I vote every week in the FWAA Super 16. Again, a lot of people that take part of this, like RJ Young from Fox Sports, people like that. Number 16, I got Tulane. Tulane is in there. I like Tulane. I think they are a good football team. Their only losses early in the year to Oklahoma and Kansas State. So I got Tulane at 16, South Carolina at 15, Ole Miss at 14, Alabama at 13, Clemson at 12, Georgia at 11, SMU 10, Indiana 9, Boise 8, Notre Dame 7, Tennessee 6, Miami 5, Penn State 4, Texas 3, Ohio State 2, Oregon 1. That's my 16, right? A lot of football left. We're going to be breaking down, Friday night, our football Friday night. It's Black Friday. And we're going to be talking some football because there's a lot of big games, a lot of stuff on the line this weekend for a lot of teams. You know, Oregon State, who wins the Pac-2 with a losing record. Memphis, Tulane, that's Thanksgiving night. That's a huge game for Memphis and Tulane. Colorado playing Oklahoma State on Black Friday. It's a huge game. The Egg Bowl. Georgia Tech. Can Georgia Tech spoil Georgia's run? Or do they have to win the SEC championship? I don't know. The game, Michigan, Ohio State, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Clemson, Notre Dame, USC, the Iron Bowl. I mean, there's Washington, Oregon, Texas, and A&M going at it. And you got Oklahoma and LSU. I know my man Cody on the boot. I know he's excited about this game. I'm excited about it. I think it's one of the. I love how LSU will wear their whites. So that means Oklahoma's going to be in the crimson on the road. It's going to be a really, really good look. But now it's time because it's Thanksgiving, and this show's about sports and food, right?
Look at here. Look.
What you got?
Look.
What you got?
I
Tell
got
me.
beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it. Look.
Sing it
I
for
got
me.
beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs.
It's time for my top 10 Thanksgiving dishes, right? Here's my top 10. Number 10, mac and cheese. A good homemade baked mac and cheese. You make the roux and the cheese sauce. You got to use like the spiral so some cheese gets in there. Love it. Number 9, broccoli, cheese, and rice casserole. I'm going to tell you what's not on my list. Green bean casserole. Keep that shit off of my table. Keep that shit off of my table. Vandy says, I want chaos. Give me GT over Georgia, A&M over Texas, Vandy over Tennessee. Are we really going to put all these 3-loss teams over any one? It's a great question. It's a great question. But they kind of already talked about that going into the year about the SEC, how there's going to be a lot of teams with multiple losses. And it will be chaos. But again, if you look at, the teams around them, it's who they've got the playoff predictor, right? And we'll see who gets through there. But I hope for chaos. I hope for chaos. But if you look now, so Oregon, Ohio State. If Ohio State beats Michigan, they're in no matter what. Right? They're in no matter what. Oregon, Ohio State, they're both in. Texas can still be out because it's, Texas loses to A&M and then loses to Georgia in the SEC championship game. You put them in with 3 losses. Penn State, I hate it that they're in. Notre Dame, if you're not in a conference, you shouldn't be in. Georgia, great. Tennessee, Miami, SMU, Indiana. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could be moving around. But again, my top 10. I had mac and cheese at number 10. Broccoli, cheese, and rice casserole at number 9. Number 8, cranberry sauce. And you could give me either one. Fresh made, my wife makes really good. I had to go buy cranberries the other day for the Thanksgiving dinner. Or give me the can. Slap that out there. I'll put that on my turkey sandwiches. I'm ready to go. Number 7, pumpkin pie. I love a pumpkin pie. Whipped cream all over it. Give me some pumpkin pie. 6, gravy. Yes, gravy is a dish to me. Because if you can't make gravy, you can't cook. I like the giblet gravy. The turducken, number 1. That monstrosity. Number 5, stuffing. I love stuffing. A lot of sage, a lot of garlic. Number 4, sweet potatoes, candied yams. Number 3, good rolls. Like good dinner rolls. My wife makes some really good ones. It's like this fresh dough that she lets rise. Thyme and rosemary. They're so good. So good. Number 2, mashed potatoes. You have to have mashed potatoes. And number 1, turkey. I'm a turkey guy. I know there's a lot of people like ham. I'm a turkey guy. Tryptophan Train to Sleepy Town. You go on my YouTube page, you see a video that I made, one of my most watched videos, of me smoking a turkey. It turned out phenomenal. So much so my in-laws are like, we want you to make turkey from now on. I've got a maple bourbon apple cider vinegar spray that I spray on it after letting it brine for 48 hours. And then I smoke it. Every 20, 30 minutes, I go outside, squirt some of that on there. I'm like the dad from A Christmas Story, a turkey connoisseur. I want the giblets. I want the dark meat. I want the white meat, the legs. Give me turkey. Give me the turkey. But that's my top 10. If you're a ham person, I'm sorry. If you're a green bean casserole person, what's your problem? I'm sorry. That stuff is absolutely nasty. Green bean casserole, and it's everybody. I've tried it many times from many different people, and I don't like green bean casserole. I don't know what it, I don't like it. You know, a lot of people put corn on the plate, but man, give me turkey, give me mashed potatoes, give me stuffing, gravy. You know, I'm going to keep it very starchy, you know, some cranberry sauce to mix in. And if they make a mac and cheese, great. And I mean, that's not always. I love a good mac and cheese on Thanksgiving. It's not an everyday thing, you know, every time. And the broccoli, cheese, and rice casserole. I love that because what I'll do is when I make it, you know, I'll make the rice. I'll make the broccoli. See, that's why you're a smart man, Vandy. You're absolutely right. You have to have giblet gravy. Put it on everything. Tater, stuffing, dressing, and the turkey. You're absolutely right. 100%, Vandy Chris. 100%. Now I got my kid to eat one of the gizzards. He's like, "Oh, what is that?" I'm gonna just try it. And I got him because he knows I will never ask him to try something I think is really gross. So I, you know, cooked the hearts and lungs, all the little gizzards and all that for the giblets. And I gave him one and he was like, "Oh, that's really good." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really good." But yeah, I smoking turkey, good gravy. But yes, I want a lot of turkey. I want some stuffing. I want some mashed potatoes. A couple rolls. Like I'm taking a couple rolls. You know, if they're good rolls, I'm hammering down on rolls. Some people, I've seen some people, especially here in the South, make cornbread on Thanksgiving. I love cornbread. But the cranberry sauce, you kind of mix that in. And then the best thing for me about Thanksgiving is the day after turkey sandwiches. I absolutely love post-Thanksgiving turkey sandwiches. You get some good bread, like a sourdough, spread a little bit of that cranberry sauce on there, put some stuffing, the turkey, put some gravy on. Yeah, come at me. A nice big piece of sharp cheddar with some, I'm all about, that's what I can't wait is for the post-Thanksgiving turkey sandwiches. Guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. Don't forget, stay tuned. The Golden Boot podcast is next. Those guys do a fantastic job. They're a lot of fun. Now, Cody and Vandy Chris went head-to-head this last week. I go head-to-head with Cody this week. Maybe see if we can do like some cross promotion stuff on Friday, talking about Oklahoma LSU. But George, Cody, Chris, they do a great job on the Golden Boot podcast. You need to check out Dog TV, right? The Dog TV, College Football Dog Network, Sunbelt Syndicate does a great job. You want to know about Group of Five? You want to know about the Sunbelt? Everything. Basketball. These guys have it covered. You need to check them out, right? Got to check it out. Right in the Air podcast. If you're a Kentucky fan, they're there, right? We go over the week that was, the effects going forward, and asking the question, what are you thankful for? That's a great, what am I thankful for? I'll tell you what I'm thankful for, Vandy. I am thankful that I have a wife who, one, takes really good care of me because the injury that I have, she's a nurse, And without her, it probably wouldn't be healing as good. Like if I was on my own, who knows what would be happening. But also in the midst of her going for a master's program, trying to become a nurse practitioner, she's always adamant about me chasing my passion, which is this. And so I'm thankful for my wife, and I'm thankful for all of you that tune in, that take time out of your day to watch, to listen, to interact, because I love it. I love interacting with you guys. I like answering the questions. I like the back and forth. I love talking about sports. I love talking about food. I love the combination. I love bourbon. So I'm thankful for all of y'all. You know, I'm thankful for the ability to do this, right? It's a great question, Vandy Chris. Guys, don't forget, stay tuned for the Golden Boot podcast coming up at 8:30. Those guys are going to rock it, all right? That's going to do it for me. Remember, guys, follow all the socials down there. Follow me on YouTube. Doesn't cost anything. Just hit the subscribe button. Same on TikTok. I do a lot of TikToks. I put poll questions up. Got YouTube Shorts, everything like that on X. So just follow all those socials, right? For on X is at SportsBitesPod1. On TikTok, at SportsBitesPod. YouTube, at SportsBitesPodcast. And on Instagram, follow Sports Bites Podcast. That's it all right there. But guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. I will talk to you Friday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Put politics to the side. Just enjoy being with your family. We don't need to talk about all that and cause a scene at family gatherings. You know, because I know there's going to be a bunch of families where everybody's different. Just get together, enjoy each other. And remember to always positively move forward, guys.
Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey through the world of sports and food on Sports Bites. With your host, Chris Joseph. We hope you've enjoyed the game day stories and culinary adventures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any mouth-watering sports-related tales or favorite game day recipes, share them with us on social media. Until next time, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about the bites that make it unforgettable. Stay hungry for more Sports Bites.